So we got some questions about motivation today. The first one comes from our Blue Belt buddy, Zach, who's saying that he's just not motivated to train, and he's wondering, Chewy, what do you do when you're not motivated? The second one comes from Perk Carr, who says that he's unmotivated to train. How do you overcome that, right? How do you overcome the lack of motivation? So first off, guys, thanks for the question. And when you guys say like a lack of motivation or you have no motivation, I always assume when someone says that they're talking about they lack that spark, right? That spark that's supposed to fill them up and propel them forward to do the things that they want to do or that they know that they need to do, but that they're having trouble doing. I feel like that's what most people think of as motivation. But I'm here to tell you that that's probably not what you should be looking for. And two, for me, that spark, I hate that fucking thing. I hate that spark because that spark that fills you up and gets you going, right? First off, it's fleeting. You can't really bank on it. And when you do get it, for me, I get jittery. It's almost like I drank too much coffee and ate a bunch of candy and I'm just buzzing. And then at the end of it, maybe I get a little done, but most of the time I get almost nothing done. It's very unwieldy for me. It's a lot of times useless. So I don't look for that. I don't want that thing. Instead, there's a different type of motivation, if you want to call it that, that banks on you, that you can create over and over again if you know how to do it. So I'll share a story and sort of segue that in there, and hopefully this is useful to you guys. So back in 2017, I set a small goal for myself. I set a goal of reading 36 books over the course of the year. That's 3 books for a month for the whole year. I figured that was a reasonable goal for a guy who, like myself, is pretty busy. I was like, I'll stick with this. And when I say read, by the way, I'm talking about reading, I'm talking about audiobooks, and when I read a book, I don't sit down and just passively read it. I take notes and paraphrase things in a journal. Any really profound idea, I write down on an index card so I can surround myself with really cool ideas all the time. And I also highlight anything in the book and scribble notes. So if you ever get a book that I've read, it's got all kinds of crap all over it. So I try to consume the information and really digest it so I can hang on to it and hang on to those ideas that I like. So over the course of the year, I decided to make this ritual to myself where I would try to do it in the morning, right? First thing in the morning, where I'd get up, get a cup of coffee, and I'd sit down either at home or sometimes I'd come to the gym, and the first thing I'd do is I'd read or consume information for the first 45 minutes of my day. And I really grew to enjoy that ritual. Like getting up early became easier and easier because I was really enjoying it. Because every day I'd wake up, it was like the rest of the world was asleep because I was getting up so early. So it was just me by myself reading for the first 45 minutes of the day, taking in this information. And I found that motivating. One, because I did something that just for me, just for my own sort of, I wanted to do this and I did it. Second thing is when I get a new piece of information or get some new idea, that charges me up personally. So I was like, man, this is awesome. So for the rest of the day, I'm all like buzzing with this new information in my head. So for me, it became very motivating simply to do the thing. And by the end of the year, 2017, when I sort of went back to my journal and started looking at my yearly goals, I looked at all the books that I'd read, and I ended up reading 52. So I far exceeded the number of books that I read simply because I focused on the process and the act of doing it rather than, hey, I haven't hit that number of books yet, okay? And so for you guys with your training, it's the same way. If you focus on the big long-term goals of stripes and belts and championship things, whatever it is that you're chasing down the road that might take some serious time to get to, you want to set those goals, but you don't want to hang on to them all the time. Instead, every single day, there are motivating things that can happen, right? When you go to the gym and you're dragging ass, right? That can be tough. And when you overcome it by getting to the gym, that's motivating. When you get to the gym and you see an old friend, when your coach shows you a new technique, or maybe they show you an old technique that you haven't seen in a while, and they maybe show you a few more details with it, that's motivating. There's so many little victories that you can have every single day in your gym that you can focus on, and that can be motivating. And that creates motivation and creates forward momentum. Because when you start doing the thing over and over and over again, and you stay committed to it, and you just do it consistently, that creates the motivation that you need. Right? A lot of times, and I hope I'm not being too preachy in this video because I'm not trying to be preachy because I have my own motivation problems, right? Like sometimes I get hit by the spark and I don't do anything. Sometimes when I know I need to do something, sometimes I lack the motivation to get going. But I know that anything that I've done that's worthwhile, anything that I'm proud of, anything that's meaningful to me that I've ever accomplished in my life has never come from boom, the spark, the inspiration. It's always come from me shutting my mouth and just doing the damn thing. Not posting on Facebook, not talking to anybody else, but being like, I want to do this because I want to do it and I'm going to do it and staying committed to it, right? And just being consistent. Because a lot of times in those situations, I wanted to do something and the motivation did not come beforehand. It became after. Because as I started to do it, I felt that motivating feeling. I was like, I'm doing it. Like I wanted to do this thing and I'm fucking doing it. And so for you guys that are having trouble with motivation, Don't look for it. Don't wait for it, because it ain't coming. And if it's coming, you probably don't want that kind. You want the kind that you can create. You want to be a powerhouse of motivation by taking action every single day towards whatever it is that you want. And if you're talking about training, set a ritual for yourself, set a goal for yourself, whatever that is. Maybe that's 3 days a week, maybe that's 2 days a week, whatever that is. Set your routine and stick to that thing. Come hell or high water, I'm making these days of training. Period, point blank. That's what you have to do. If that's what you want, because every day you step in the gym, you're going to be motivated because you're like, I did what I set out to do. So, guys, thanks for the question. Hope that helps.